Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. Back with another live show. It's Tuesday. We are getting closer and closer to July. Hopefully that is the time we'll start getting deals done. But in today's stream, we actually have a lot to talk about. What's the latest with the striker situation? We'll be covering that later on. The winger situation, as always, that's the one you're going to be starting with today. And the latest on Rodrygo. A couple of players have been linked with moves away. Thomas Partey, Martinelli. The latest on Hein as well. You haven't really talked about him. Also, defensive-wise, players like Jorrel, Hato, Zinchenko. What's the latest on all of them? This might be a long one, so let's get to it straight away, and let's start with the latest on Rodrygo, and this is what Fabrizio has had to say. Arsenal love Rodrygo and they consider him as a fantastic player, a dream target as a winger. Also because they feel Nico Williams is impossible to reach this summer, Rodrygo remains a strong name in the list at Arsenal for sure. So first of all, forget about Nico Williams. Let's stop talking about Nico Williams. Nico Williams is going to be a Barcelona player. Let's forget about that one. We love Rodrygo. We know that we love Rodrygo. We know that is the player that we want. And out of all the wingers who we might say are available, he's the one that who has really, really been mentioned as a potential purchase for Arsenal. The others haven't really been linked with moves away or a move to Arsenal. I like Lookman. I wouldn't mind Lookman at Arsenal. At the beginning of the transfer window, I started by saying I want Gykeres as my striker, but for the winger position, I'm open to having anyone, whether it's Lookman, whether it's Nico Williams, whether it's Rodrygo, any of those, Rafa Leao, any of those. There was a lot of options, but obviously now it seems like it's not that many who are going to improve your team. I was excited to have any of those. So at the moment, as of now, the last 10 days, we've only heard about Rodrygo and Anthony Gordon. And I don't think Anthony Gordon is going to join Arsenal. And I don't think Arsenal should be going for Anthony Gordon for 75 million anyway. So I don't even think I would say it's realistic. I mean, he's gettable, but it's obviously a very tough deal to do, getting Rodrygo to Arsenal. But that's the only deal that is currently going on in terms of getting a winger. That's the only one that we can say, okay, can we get this guy as a winger? Is it a possibility? Yes or no? So Fabrizio has said that Arsenal love him. They consider him a fantastic player, a dream target. Also because they feel Nico Williams is impossible to reach this summer. Rodrygo remains a strong name in the list of Arsenal for sure. So as I've said before, players like Rodrygo, you're going to have to pay premium to get them. Wages and the fee, you have to pay Madrid good money to get him. Now, I don't know if paying Real Madrid 75 or 80 million will push them to sell him, or even if we give them 90 million, they don't really care. They really want to keep him. I don't think Real Madrid struggle for money, but I think if you give them a certain amount of money, they will accept. And does Rodrygo want to leave? That's the other point. Even if we offer Madrid 85, 90 million and Rodrygo does not want to leave, then it doesn't matter. He's going to end up staying at Real Madrid, and you have to move on from then. So we are heading into July. The first month of the transfer window is about to. Okay, I mean, if you don't count the few days where it was closed, but yeah, June is usually the first month of the transfer window. June, we are approaching the end of June by next week, so that will be 1 month gone. Still no done deals yet, so it's going to be a busy July. I'd like to hope so, and hopefully a player like Rodrygo, we can see we can make moves on a player like him, hopefully, because this is the kind of player that will take you to the very, very next level. Hopefully we do end up getting him. Another update on Rodrygo is this from Pakoja. He says Real Madrid have set their price for Rodrygo, 90 million euros, which is 77 million pounds. Arsenal are a real option. So, yeah, you have to pay that money if you want to get a Rodrygo. Again, I'll keep on repeating, you're not going to buy Rodrygo for 40 million, 50 million. Now, I have seen comments from the previous videos on Rodrygo, people saying, hey, Rodrygo is not that much of an upgrade on Martinelli. Why are we considering selling Martinelli at 40, 50 million and Rodrygo is going for 80, 90? Martinelli should be the same. I've seen comments like that. For me, I want to keep Martinelli and add Rodrygo to the team. That is what I prefer doing. Some people want to sell Martinelli, fair enough. Some people don't think Rodrygo is good enough, fair enough. Some people think Rodrygo and Martinelli are the same, fair enough. For me, I want both of them. I think it is going to bring a big competition, and it's going to bring something that we don't really have in terms of directness. We don't really have that Saka on the left side. You can just keep on taking on players every time and creating chance after chance and scoring goals here and there. We want a player like that. So 77 million, I think that would be a good investment. So let's see how it goes. Rodrygo, 77 million. Would you guys pay 77 million for Rodrygo? Let me just know in the comments, yes or no. Do you think 77 million is too much for Rodrygo? Now, if he joins Arsenal, will Martinelli leave the club? For me, I've made myself clear. I don't want Martinelli to leave. I want us to have enough squad players. Unless someone is coming to give us 80, 90 million, I'm definitely keeping him for next season. But what's the latest on Gabriel Martinelli? We have an update from Ghana Blog, who says Gabriel Martinelli is happy at Arsenal and the club expect him to stay. However, if an attractive buyer came in for Martinelli at an appropriate price, especially one which enabled Arsenal to land some of their top targets, then Arsenal's position could shift. So I've always thought Martinelli is happy at Arsenal. It's never really felt like Martinelli wants to leave Arsenal. I don't think at any point it's ever felt like Martinelli wants to leave Arsenal. So I don't think that is something that you should be concerned with. I think he definitely wants to stay at Arsenal. And the club expect him to stay. However, if an attractive buyer came in for Martinelli at an appropriate price, especially one which enabled Arsenal to land some of their top targets, then Arsenal could shift. So if an attractive offer comes in for Martinelli, that's when we might consider. Now, what is an attractive fee for Martinelli? What is an attractive price for Martinelli? Is it 40 million pounds? Is it 50 million pounds? Is it 60 million pounds? Are Arsenal going to be, completely greedy? I don't even think greed is the word. Other teams are able to sell their players for a lot of money. Are Arsenal going to be, a very good selling club now and say, no, 70, if you want him, 70 million, you're not going to sell him? Are we going to be that kind of team that doesn't just let go of their players cheaply the way we've done it the last 20 years? What is the correct price for Martinelli? What is the appropriate price? Now, from the question I asked you guys the other day from the poll, majority of you are saying around 50 million is what Martinelli should be going for. Now, how many? Let me just confirm something. How many years does Martinelli have on his contract right now remaining? Let's see. Let me just confirm that real quick. Gabriel Martinelli, where you is on 108,000 per week, and his contract is expiring in 2027. So he still has 2 years to go. Still has 2 years to go at Arsenal. So I don't think there's any rush of extending Martinelli's contract at the moment. Still a long time. He's 23 years of age, so he is still quite young, Martinelli. So one thing is for sure, though, I want him to stay next season because of that squad depth, but he has to have a good season. If Martinelli comes next season and then has another bad season, then next season I'm already worried about him right now. Like, I'm worried for him because I feel like Arsenal, if a correct offer comes in, I think Arsenal will be happy to sell him because of his performances the last 2 seasons. Now, I want to keep Martinelli because of the squad depth, and I also want to keep him because he's a player who always works hard every single game. He'll never watch a game and think, Martinelli's quiet, he's not doing enough, all that. No, he always comes back and defends. He always, fights for everything and all that, but you still need him to improve up front. Those goals and those decision-making especially. There's a lot of times I've seen Saka free on the right side. He doesn't pass, or he doesn't look up and doesn't make the correct decision, all that. Improve on your decision-making, improve on your end product, and we'll be talking differently next season, because this is the same Martinelli that scored 15 goals 2 years ago. He scored 15 goals in a season, and at that point I think he became only the second Brazilian in Premier League history to get to 15 plus goals. So he's a very good player. I mean, he's broken records before, good records, so he's not like a completely useless player. But he'll have to have a good season next season. He cannot have another bad season, Usually 2 seasons, back-to-back poor seasons, I'm like, we can't do that. Odegaard has had 1 poor season. Let's hope it's not the same next season, Zinchenko had a very good beginning to his Arsenal career, and then the second season was not good. And then the third season was you're basically out for majority of the season. So if you have like 2 seasons where you're unproductive, then a team will consider selling you. You cannot have 3 seasons in a row. So let's see how Martinelli does next season. If he's here, if he's still an Arsenal player, if a good offer comes in, as they said, we might consider selling him. But Martinelli himself is happy to stay at Arsenal. So let's see. So Martinelli is happy to stay at Arsenal, but is Thomas Partey happy to stay at Arsenal? That is the question. I think both of them are like on around the same money. I think Martinelli is 180, Partey 200, around that. Is Partey happy to stay? Well, Thomas Partey's contract expires next week, and Arsenal have been in negotiations over an extension, but are yet to find an agreement. Although Partey's preference has been to remain in London, he is entertaining offers from elsewhere. So, yeah, I mean, he kind of has to do that just in case Arsenal don't give him a new or just in case he decides not to sign a new contract. He has to keep his options open. He can't just, just stay. Like, like when De Gea left Man United, he stayed out for like 15 months without playing. I don't think Partey wants that direction. I think he wants to be playing next season, whether it's at Arsenal or a different team. So he has been considering his options. I don't know if one of those options is Saudi Arabia, or he doesn't want to go there right now. Is he considering going to La Liga more or Serie A more? I don't think it's going to be a team in the Premier League. I think it's either going to be La Liga or Serie A or Saudi Arabia, one of those. I think that is where Partey is going to end up, or stay at Arsenal. He's not going to go to any different club. So the offer is on the table. Now it's up to Partey to decide whether he's going to stay. I still feel like Partey is going to extend the contract. I don't think there's anyone who's going to give him more than that money. Age matters. Age definitely matters. Not many players get that kind of money at that age. Unless you're Ronaldo or Messi, not too many players get that kind of money at that age, unless you're going to Saudi Arabia. So if the Saudi Arabia clubs are not that serious on Thomas Partey, and I don't think AC Milan are going to come and pay him 200,000. Those teams do not pay that much money, the Serie A clubs. Are Barcelona willing to come and spend that money on Thomas Partey right now? I also don't think so. So I think for him himself, he won't have a bigger option than Arsenal in terms of money. I don't think there's anything that is going to give him more money than that, unless a team from Saudi Arabia comes in. European teams, I don't think there's anyone who's going to come and give Partey 250,000 a week right now. Age matters, whether we like it or not. Age matters. They're going to be looking at that. How many years is he going to give them? You cannot give Partey a 4-year contract right now, 250,000 per week. So I don't think those teams are going to do that. But if a Barcelona or someone comes in and says 100 and try to match Arsenal in terms of the wages, he might consider it. But I think as of now, I think he's going to settle for what Arsenal have given him. So I don't know if it's going to be 1 year or 2 years, but let's see. I'm going to keep him. I have always said I want to keep him for one more season. I don't think we're in a position to let go of too many players, but still has his options. So we'll find out in the next 1 week whether Partey will be an Arsenal player or not. But we've been told his preference is to remain in London. So let's see what happens with Thomas Partey. Now, will Zubimendi be a replacement for Thomas Partey? Will he be a replacement for Jorginho? Not really transfer news on Zubimendi, but it will help us go into the next news, because Zubimendi will be our first signing. His passing might sound simple, but generally chooses well the one pass to do. He hardly ever loses the ball, and that helps with fluidity and team confidence. That helps. For me, the most important position on the pitch is the midfielder. That is my opinion. If you lose the midfield battle, you're not going to score enough goals. If you lose the midfield battle, you're going to give away a lot of chances. So if your midfield is not good, you're in big trouble. You can have a bad goalkeeper. You can still win the game 5-4 if you have good strikers. If you don't have good strikers and you have good defenders, put your hands up, Arsenal. You might still not lose too many games. We still lose like 3-4 games in a season. We don't lose too many games. That is because we have a good defense and a good goalkeeper. We don't have forward players, but we still survive. We're not finishing like 10th or 11th. We're still finishing amongst the top teams because we have a very good defense. But if you might have one good winger and one poor winger, you're fine. But if you have poor midfielders, you're in big trouble. So that is the connection between your defense and your forward line and all that. So the fluidity, if it helps. Another thing that we do so slowly is the movement of the ball last season was too slow. We couldn't counter-attack because we were too slow, and the moving of the ball was too slow, and then the other team gets the ball and they score 4 or 5 goals past us already. Not 5 or 6 goals. You know what I mean? 5 or 6 chances. They get the 5 or 6 chances right away. and we have been struggling to have the ball the whole game and you don't penetrate the team. He reads the game very well without being the fastest midfielder. He has the puzzle of the team in his head. That is great to hear. He is lately more up to driving with the ball, so I'm doing that for Spain a lot recently and even getting into the box. But his main job is to help with the build-up, make the game fluid, find the man with space and push the team forward. Now, that will also help us. We always move the ball to Saka on the right side. Can we have, when Zinchenko plays in midfield, we can get the ball from Zinchenko to Odegaard or Zinchenko to whoever who's playing the number 8 position through the midfield without using the wing. If you have Zubimendi doing that in your midfield, that is great. If you can, put those passes, and we saw the game, I think Spain played against, was it France? I think it was like the 5-4 game or something. The passes that he was putting in the middle, that is what you want to see. Don't be scared of trying a pass. Don't be scared of losing the ball. Last season, Arsenal played too safe too many times. They did not try crazy passes because we were scared to lose the ball. Now, I've always been someone who I don't mind dominating possession. I don't at all. If you can keep the possession and the other team only has one chance the entire game, I love that. We don't concede too many chances. I absolutely love that. But you also have to create your own, so if you keeping the ball is also stopping you from getting chances, that's a problem. He's very clever when it comes to deciding when to go, when not to go. A team player, a quiet leader, a key cog in the machine. I remember the reaction in the England fan and Pandit camp when Rodrygo got injured in the Euro 2024 final. I thought, hold on, it is Zubimendi coming on. Spain have got 2 very good players in that position. I had a discussion with Thierry on Thierry. That is definitely not our legend. That is Thierry Henry, not Thierry. I don't know who Thierry is. Thierry Henry, about him, I put him in the top 3 in the world in that position. He convinced me to drop him to top 5, but in any case, he's very, very good. So let's hope whatever Guilherme said is true. Let's hope. Zubimendi is a very good player. We've already seen him playing for Sociedad for years and for his country. The only thing is how quickly is he going to fit into the England game, the English game. That is what I'm waiting to see, because, players like Baleba and players like Bruno Guimaraes are not going to wait for you. They're going to, tackle you right away, and you're going to be welcome to the Premier League football very quickly. So he will be our first signing. He will wear the number 36. So let's see when it's going to be made or confirmed or made official. I think it's maybe the end of the month of July 1st, and that's when you're going to hear Arsenal announcing it or something. But yes, I'm sure he's even done his medical already. I think the time he was in London or at Arsenal the other day, I think he did his medical as well. So I think that deal is already done. Zubimendi will be an Arsenal player. So welcome to Arsenal, Zubimendi. But who will be our second signing? I think we also have that confirmed now in terms of who will be our second signing. Not what everyone wants to hear, but as expected, he will be our second signing. Arsenal's next significant arrival is likely to be goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga, who is expected at Soba Reality Training Center this week. So Kepa will be our second signing, back-to-back Spanish players. Again, we haven't talked about Kepa a lot recently, but it's good. I'm happy with him being a second-choice goalkeeper. I don't think it's too much of a big deal. Raya will still play like 36 of the Premier League games, hopefully every single Premier League game. And if Kepa can cover for us in the FA Cup, in the Carabao Cup, maybe a couple of Champions League games, that is fine. He was at Real Madrid the other day, not too long ago. He was at Chelsea the other day. He was at Bournemouth last season playing every single game. So he's still a capable goalkeeper. If we were signing Kepa to be our first choice goalkeeper, that's a different case. But because he's coming to join us for only 5 million, that's why I'm okay. If we were signing Kepa from Chelsea for 20 million, I would have a problem. But because we're signing him for just 5 million, I'm okay with that. And because he's a backup goalkeeper. So if that helps us sign other players in other positions, not too much of a big deal. And I think I would prefer Kepa to Neto, to be honest. I think many of you would prefer Kepa rather than having Neto. So Kepa will be our second signing. I think at the end of the week or the start of next week, we're going to hear about the Zubimendi and Kepa deals getting done as quickly as possible. Hopefully, because the players are already about to come back for preseason training. They're going to go to Spain, and then boom, before you know it, you're 1 week away before your first actual preseason game. And then before you know it, August is here and the Premier League is about to start. And we saw our schedule, Man United away, Liverpool away, all those teams very, very early on in the season. We don't have any time to waste at all. Now, I also did say before we were linked to Kepa, that I don't want us to spend 20, 25 million on one Garcia. I'm happy for Hein to be our backup goalkeeper. But now that Kepa is coming, what is going to happen to Hein? This is the latest on him. Kepa Arrizabalaga arrival at Arsenal could mean a departure for Hein after impressing on loan at Real Valladolid last season. He is the subject of loan interest from other La Liga clubs, although Arsenal would also be open to a permanent deal. So yeah, I think for him and his career, it's time to move on. Let me see how old he is. Let me just check. 23. He's turning 24. So yeah, I don't think he can just be a third choice goalkeeper at Arsenal when he was playing for Valladolid. He went to Valladolid last season, and let me just confirm for you guys how many games he played. He played 31 La Liga games. Okay, so he's basically the first choice goalkeeper for Valladolid. He played almost every single game. So, you know, for his career, for his situation, I think it'd just be better to move on from Arsenal. How much money are we going to get for him? I don't know. If you can get it back, like the 5 million you're paying for Kepa, if you can get that for Hein, I don't know how much you can get for Kepa. I don't know his market valuation at the moment. Although, listen, I'm tired. No, why did I say 5 million? Stop with that. Forget what I just said, 5 million. No, I'm seeing backup goalkeepers from Liverpool and these other teams going for 30 million. He's played in La Liga last season for 31 games. No, I do not want that. Scratch that. 5 million. Who said 5 million? He's 24 years, 23 years of age. Nah, we should be pulling in more than that. Even depending on how many years he has on his contract, I don't even care in terms of that as well. Hein, is he on the list? He is. His contract expires next year, 2026. Nah, we should be able to pull at least 15 million. At least 15 million. You know, there's goalkeepers who have never played and they're going for 20. Man City can sell, Scott Carson, the fourth choice goalkeeper at Man City. Man City could sell him right now for 30 million. He's never ever played a game. Why can't we also sell a player like this? Man City, I think, sold it was the goalkeeper at Burnley. Trafford. I think it's Trafford. Man City sold him to Burnley for a lot of money. Why can't we also get good money for our goalkeepers as well? This thing about getting 5-6 million for Leno, no, 15 million for Hein. That is what I want for him. 5 million, 15 million for Hein. So yeah, he is going to leave on loan or permanent deal. Let's see. I would sell him, get the 15 million, use it elsewhere. If you use 5 million on Kepa, you still have 10 million to use elsewhere. So that's the latest on the goalkeeper situation. Kepa will be a second signing. Hein might potentially move on, and then maybe Setford will be our third choice goalkeeper probably next season. Now, we've talked about the midfield situation. We've talked about the goalkeeper situation. We've talked about the winger situation. As always, you know who we are going to talk about next. Let's talk about Gyokeres and Sesko, our striker situation. What's the latest on that? Let's talk about Gykeres. So according to Court Offside, Arsenal are planning to submit an opening bid for Viktor Gykeres in the coming days, possibly worth in the region of 75 million euros to 80 million euros. I guess that is around 60 million pounds, around there. Gykeres has been clear, 60 to 70 million pounds. Gykeres has been clear that he wants to join Arsenal, and there have been already positive talks between the club and his agent. I still can't believe Gykeres wants to join Arsenal, man. I'd already signed him already. A player wants to join Arsenal, because the moment I feel like Gyokeres wants to join Arsenal and Sesko doesn't really want to join Arsenal, then I don't think it's a no-brain. It's a brain teaser there. You just go and you get Gyokeres. He wants to join you. Sesko, if he's asking for release clauses and all that and seeing Arsenal as a stepping stone, you just go and you get Gyokeres, who scored 100 goals in the past 2 seasons. Now, I mean, I'd even be willing to bet, because I've still seen people saying, Gyokeres is not going to score more than 10 goals. No, man, come on. The chances that we create, me and you can score those 10 goals. Those chances that we create every single game, we can even go to just one game against PSG. We had like 5-6 clear-cut chances. How many one-on-one chances has Havertz had? How many one-on-one chances has Martinelli had this past season? So many. Like, if you give Gykeres, he doesn't have to score 3 goals every single game. I'm not asking him to score 100 goals in 2 seasons. Last season, he had like 70 goal contributions or something. I said I need only half of that. I'm being very nice. I only need half of that. Gykeres, you don't have to score 50 goals for Arsenal. I just want 25. that is enough. If you get us 25 goals, half of what you got in Portugal, that is very, very enough, Assists. How many assists did he get? Was it 12 or 13? If you give us even half of that, I'll be very, very happy. That is all I'm asking for. So for the people who are saying that he's going to come and score 10 goals in the Premier League, I disagree, man. I don't think it would be that much of... he knows where the net is. I'm pretty sure the nets in Portugal are still the same net that they use in England, the same size goalpost and all that. I don't think it changes. So will he play against tougher defenders? Yes, but he'll also... Which games, my problem is not even playing against Liverpool and playing against Man City. Those teams don't beat us. We have a very good defense. We still do score goals against those teams, 2-3 goals every single season. We know what our problem is. Fulham at home, Everton at home, West Ham at home, those kind of teams. That is why I need players like Gyokeres. Yes, of course, I'm going to want him to score against Man City and Liverpool and all that, but that will be a bonus. We want someone who's going to help us, score goals in these small games that we struggle with, and I think Gyokeres is going to do that, I don't think Gyokeres is going to go and struggle to score against Burnley completely and struggle to score against Everton completely and struggle he's going to get the chances. He's going to miss one or two, no problem. But if you can give me 20 plus goals, 25 specifically, half of what you got in Portugal, I'm happy with that. But will he be joining Arsenal? How much is he worth? At the beginning of the transfer window, I said I would be happy to pay 80 million for Gykeres. So it's actually crazy to me that we are debating 60s and 70s in terms of how much he would cost us. But the fact that he wants to join Arsenal, that is even a better pull. I didn't start wanting Gykeres this season. I wanted Gykeres last season. When we were doing polls about which one should we get between Isaac and Gykeres, I chose Gykeres ahead of Isaac. And going into last season, the kind of impact he had once again, is people have been saying he scored like 20 penalties. Yeah, can I tell you how many penalties we missed last season? Sterling missed a penalty. Havertz missed a penalty in a penalty shootout. Odegaard missed a penalty. Saka? We missed a lot of penalties. I'm even forgetting them. Trossard missed a penalty in the Champions League. We missed a lot of penalties last season. So we do need someone to score the penalties for us as well. So it would help if we can get Gykeres who can score the penalties. A striker who just wants to go score goals. A striker who, even if he has 3 goals, he wants to take the penalty because he wants a 4th goal. He's hungry to score goals. I don't think Arsenal have players like that. I think at Arsenal, I don't think we have ruthless players at Arsenal. It's great to be a team player, no problem. I don't have a problem with Saka giving a penalty to Havertz giving a penalty to Odegaard, no problem. But at Arsenal, if Saka has 2 goals and Odegaard hasn't scored for a month, Saka is not going to want to score the hat-trick. He's going to give the ball to Odegaard. He's going to do that, no problem. But that kind of shows you that he's happy to get an assist. He's happy to, for his captain to be happy. No problem with that. No, I'm not saying it's a problem, but I'm saying if you can get a player like Gykeres who has 3 goals and is like, no, Havertz, Odegaard, I don't care how long you haven't scored a goal. I want a 4th goal. I want to just keep scoring. I want to, put those numbers on the board to give myself more confidence. Just pass the ball to me. I'm going to score. I want that from Gykeres. Come and do that for me at Arsenal. No problem. 65 million pounds. I'm happy to pay that, no problem. And wages, I would even be happy to give him 230,000 per week. So if it's anything less than that, no problem. And 27 years of age, that is the prime of a footballer. 27 years, there's strikers, there's someone who always makes a point in the comments. There's strikers who are getting paid way more, all the strikers who are getting more goals and they're getting paid higher. How old is Lewandowski? How old are players like that? Those are players are way past 30 and they're still scoring a bunch of goals. Harry Kane, way past 30, still scoring goals. So Gykeres, if you give him a 4-year contract right now, he's still going to score more, still going to score goals for the next 3 years, And I think he has the build. In terms of him and Sesko, I think both of them have the build for the Premier League. I don't think any of them is going to struggle with physicality in the Premier League. I don't think that is going to be the case. I think both of them are going to be okay. And those runs in behind, he maybe helps Odegaard, get more assists, more opportunities for Saka to put in the crosses and all that. I'm happy with that. And if he wants to join Arsenal, yes, please. Positive talks between the club and his agent. Let's see how it goes with Gykeres. Very, very happy to, if you can sign him, I'd be over the moon, man. If you can get me Gykeres, I'd be over the moon, man. But if it's not Gykeres, we know who it's going to be. Hopefully it's one of the two. Hopefully there's no third option. There is, but hopefully don't end up there. What's the latest on Benjamin Sesko? Now, according to reports from Miguel Delaney, there's still a 10 million euro gap. That's not too much. That's like 7 million pounds between Arsenal and RB Leipzig on Benjamin Sesko. That has nevertheless developed into a game of chicken. It's only Arsenal transfers that you usually hear things like this. Game of chicken. Arsenal are playing chess in the transfer window. We are playing Monopoly in the transfer window. Andrea Bata is playing checkers with Lookman. It's only Arsenal where you hear these things. But hey, hopefully we do win that game of chicken. Don't move. As the two clubs seek to get the best possible deal, or maybe we might have to act as the chicken this time around and get the player. If you just have to act like the chicken this time to get the player. Arsenal have been seeking to do a deal in installments. That currently comes to around 70 million euros. So it's still around the same price for both Gykeres and Sesko. For both of them, we are talking between 60 to 75. Maybe Arsenal willing to pay 16 installments, but the teams Sporting and Leipzig want 70, 75. Maybe they don't even want the installments. They want the money up front. I still feel like Leipzig and Sporting are also kind of waiting to see if any other team comes in for these players, to have a battle for their players, something like that, or maybe to get more money. Because hey, if I was the Leipzig owner, I would also want 70 million for Sesko. If I was the Sporting owner, 100 goals in 2 seasons, I'll be telling you, even if he was 50 years of age, I would want you to pay 80, 90 million. I don't care if he's 70 years, 80 years of age, he can score 100 goals in 2 seasons, come and pay the money. So let's wait and see what happens with the Gykeres and Sesko. To 7 million pound gap between the valuation for Arsenal and Leipzig. I still think there's a possibility you can sign Gykeres. If Leipzig refuse to reduce the money, I think Arsenal will go for Gykeres. But if Leipzig accept or agree to reduce the money and agree for the money to be paid in installments over the next 1 week, 2 weeks, then I think Arsenal are going to go for Sesko. I think Arsenal have wanted Sesko. I do think there's maybe 50% of the board and the management that want Gykeres and 50% that want Sesko. So it's divided. Although we were told that I think around 67% of the Arsenal team management and the board want Sesko, they prefer Sesko. But some people feel like Gykeres is too expensive for his age. But now it clearly feels like some people also think that Sesko's money is too much as well. So let's see how this one goes. I don't think it's going to be a decision that is going to be made over the next one day. I still think tomorrow, the next day, next week, are still going to be talking about this. So let's hope that we make a decision as soon as possible. As always, I'm going to come to your comments. Let me just get through all the news. There was a lot today. This is the eighth player we're talking about, and there's still more after this. So let's go to it. And that is on Jorrel Hato. Jorrel Hato's agent has been back in London in the last few hours after recent contacts with the Gunners. They are hoping to beat Chelsea to his signature. So we are serious with Jorrel Hato as well. That is a defender. Again, I repeat myself, I want us to get a defender, yes, but I don't want us to get a defender right now. I'm happy for us to sign a defender in August. We can wait for 2 months before getting a defender. And the only reason I want us to get a defender is because of injuries. If we didn't have injuries, I'm happy. But because we're letting go of Tierney and Ben White was injured a lot last season, and we know Timber, I don't want him to play that many games again. That is why he's been injured so many times. Calafiori has been injured so many times, and Gabriel is coming back from a 4-month injury. We don't know how quickly he's going to recover from that as well. I think we've been overplaying Saliba as well. So, yeah, Kivio, is he going to stay? Is he going to leave? So that is why I also want an extra defender, and Tomiyasu is injured until next year. So, yeah, that we can't really count him at the moment. So, Jorrel Hato, if he's cheaper than the 50 million he was last season and the previous year, then okay. But I don't think, there could be rushing for him because Chelsea are trying to get him as well. But if we didn't have to rush, I have no problem with us waiting until like August to get Jorrel Hato. I prefer players to be in before preseason, yes. So yeah, even during preseason is fine. Let's say July. I still prefer all our players to be in by July. Don't really wait for August. If you can get them done all at once, that's fine. And also, Lewis Kelly is the reason I didn't mention him is because we might use him in midfield as well. So let's see. But if Jorrel Hato joins and Tierney has left, there's been rumors of Kivio leaving and definitely other rumors of Zinchenko leaving. What's the latest on Zinchenko? A source told The Sun, Alexander Zinchenko is a major target for Fulham. Fulham are going to end up with like 20 Arsenal players. Their goalkeeper is an Arsenal player. They have loan players from Arsenal, Reece Nelson. They have attacking midfielders from Arsenal in Smith Rowe. Iwobi is there, another attacking midfielder. Like, how many Arsenal players do they have there? They have Willian as well. Goodness me, that's a lot of Arsenal players, man. Leno. And then they want to add another one. Well, although before even reading the whole thing, I can see 10 million down there. It almost makes me not want to read the rest of it. 10 million. I almost don't want to read the rest of it. We already talked about Zinchenko yesterday, and majority of the people said they want around 25 to 30 million. Arsenal values Zinchenko at 12.7 million pounds, while Fulham think they could land him for around 10 million. Nah, come on, man. I know Zinchenko's been injured. I know he only has 1 year remaining on his contract. Come on, man. You can throw in another 6 million there. Let's make it 18. If you really have to go down and bargain that much, let's make it 18, because I really wanted 20. He's still a player who has played in the Premier League for many, many years. So if Fulham gets Zinchenko, they're getting a Premier League experienced player. They're getting a player who's played for Man City and Arsenal over the last 8 years or something. So they're getting a very experienced player. He might not be the best of defenders, but he has a lot of other qualities. His passing ability, the fact that he can play as a midfielder, the fact that he starts for his country, international player. I don't think you just throw away players like that. Again, as I said yesterday, if Zinchenko, this same Zinchenko was playing for Man City right now, Liverpool would have been selling him for 30 million. The same Zinchenko, the same number of games played, the same defensively poor Zinchenko, the same good attacking Zinchenko. Liverpool have been selling him for 30 million right now. So, no, this 12 million and Fulham wanting to give us 10 million, nah, man, I don't think it's worth it, man. Like, that makes me start thinking, how is the 10 million going to help us? Unless it's really helping us to get another deal. 10 million. At that point, then I'll be telling you, just keep him as a third option then, because have as many players as you want in the squad, play him in the Carabao Cup games or something, because 10 million. I know his wages. Let me just confirm Zinchenko's wages. I should have left the. I know it's definitely more than 100,000. Let's see. 10 million or lose him on a free next season. 150,000. Okay, the wages are high. Okay. Sell him for 10 million because of the wages. Is he going to allow us to get other players? Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to be here next season, but come on, man. Let's get something substantial for him, man. And let's not keep on throwing our players like that. Martinelli, go for 35 million. Zinchenko, go for 10 million. Kivio, go for 20 million. No, we can't be doing that. And even Hein, go for 5 million, like Glenn from Everything Arsenal was saying, sell Hein for 5 million. Crazy. You don't sell Hein for 5 million. You sell him for 15 million plus because he's been playing every single La Liga game. So Zinchenko, that's the latest on him. Another player who's looking very likely to leave, and this is why I wouldn't mind us getting a player like Hato, because it's looking like Zinchenko is leaving, 10 years left, and it's looking like Kivio is also a possibility to leave. Hopefully don't lose all of them, because again, I don't want us to go start shopping for another defender even after Hato. That is not what we want to happen. Whew. Talking for 38 minutes straight without a pause. That is the latest news today. Gyokeres, Sesko, Zinchenko, Martinelli, Hato, Zubimendi, Rodrygo, Kepa, Hein, Partey. We got through all of them. If you're just joining, you can just rewind and get through all we've been talking about. But let me come to you guys. Comments. Let's see. Take that off screen. Let's go to the comments. Kikumbi says, please, I beg, sign Rodrygo and any striker for me this coming season. I want EPL. Yeah, we all want it, man. And we were one step away from the Champions League as well, the final. Can we go and do well again in that competition? Man, but winning the Premier League would be so, we'd be so happy, man. 21 years. 21 years, man. Basically, we've never won the Premier League since we moved to the Emirates Stadium. That's not good. That's such a very, very good stadium, and you've never been able to celebrate anything really there in terms of the big trophies. But Thea says, let them give us Viktor and Rodrygo, then we are ready to go for the EPL, watching from Zambia. Yeah, when you sign those kind of two players, then you're for sure going to compete for them. And if you're able to also keep the squad intact, because as I said, Arsenal, the team that we have at Arsenal, it's still a team that is not going to finish 7th or 8th, even if you don't buy players. So that means there's good players there. So if you add Rodrygo and Viktor to what we already have with Saka and Declan Rice, and I'm still going to say Odegaard because I said last season, if you get Gyokeres in this team, Odegaard will get 15 assists next season. I'm still going to say that because he still creates those games that Odegaard was playing badly. He was still creating like 3 or 4 chances, but he couldn't take it. So if you have Gykeres there, Odegaard might play badly, but he still finishes with 2 assists. As long as that is Odegaard's job on the pitch, create chances. That is what we want him to do. If you can do that and still get assists in every single game and chip in the few goals, that's great. Charles says, let's pay the money. Gunners, for how long are we going to love and admire players? Love, admire, watching. There's so many words. You guys know all the words, interested. There's so many. There's like 20. All of them are disappeared, but there's like 20 of them, of those words. Players in the summer transfer. We are not the only ones looking to strengthen the squad. Some teams are there too. Yeah. Especially the teams that are playing in the Club World Cup. The moment they finish the Club World Cup, they might come and start signing players again. A good 2 says Rodrygo, Gykeres, Hato, and ready to go. Watching from Kenya. Kikumbi says 77 to 90 million is a very fair amount. Please do things fast. Let's see. I've liked the jersey you're putting on right now. I love it, man. I mean, it's Japan, and they have a lot of this as well. It's crazy. It's very, very, very good. The Japanese, that's my recommendation for you. If you can get Japanese jerseys, they're so good, man. And they're drawn all these things, and they're samurai guys and all that. Amazing. Even at the back, very, very good. For me, Glenn Martinelli is supposed to be sold for 60 plus 5 million. I agree. It has to be more than that. If players who are going for 70, 80 million, that I think Martinelli's done more than them. Why Arsenal, their players are very cheap than other clubs. Hopefully not this time. Hopefully Andrea Bata can change that for us. Francis says you don't have enough players and you're selling. What are you people doing? Yeah, hopefully not. Unless they've been saying maybe if they want to sell Martinelli because they want that money to get Rodrygo. Hopefully that is not the case because we are meant to have enough money after selling Ketty, after selling Smith Rowe, after selling Ramsdale as well. I just remembered we also sold Ramsdale, and the Champions League money that we got for reaching the semi-final, we didn't really spend any of that money because we didn't sign anyone in January. Coco says Zinchenko plus 15 million plus 5 million add-ons. Yeah, I agree with that as well. If you can get that would be great. We want Gyokeres, not Sesko, says Ishake. I don't need Sesko in the Arsenal. Guys watching on YouTube, like I could not see your comments on screen. Like all of them, I cannot see them as well. I'll have to use the phone to read your comments. RK says, how you doing? Bashir says, Arsenal should stop bargaining that much. I don't know why the comments are not showing here, but we'll figure it out later. Emmanuel says Kai should be sold for about 15 to 20 million. Nah, that is not how you do the business, man. I would be scared, Emmanuel. If you are the Arsenal owner, I'd be scared. Then you'd start selling Zinchenko for 5 million, Lewis Kelly for 10 million. No, you do not sell. You do not sell. However much you don't like Havertz, you don't go and sell him for 15 million. Havertz is not a 15 million pound player. No, I don't care what anyone says. It doesn't matter how many chances Havertz has missed. He's not a 15 million pound player. There's players who've never played games who are on the bench for Burnley being sold for 15 million. Is not a 15 million pound player. Again, even if you don't look at the pitch, what he's doing on the pitch, you just look at the other things outside. He plays for Germany, starts games for Germany. The fact that he's been in England for all those years as well. His age, Havertz is like 23, 24. You don't sell him for 15 million. So that's another reason I think Arsenal are not going to sell him anytime soon anyway. Unless someone comes in right now and says you're going to give you the 65 million you paid for Havertz, that's when Arsenal might consider it. But Arsenal are not going to sell Havertz for that reason. There's no one who's going to give us that money right now. And they're not going to make that kind of loss after 1 year. 40 million loss, they're not going to do that. Again, undervaluing your players. Where's that comment again? That is Emmanuel, that is undervaluing our players, Which team, for example? You see the way Sancho and Anthony have been rubbish for Man United. They're still going to ask for 30 or 40 million. So why should we be asking for 15 million for Havertz, who was our top scorer, whether we like it or not? He was our top scorer. So 15 million, no. Tell us about Gykeres. We talked about that one. Lamek, Glenn, we're tired with Arsenal stories. I can see Arsenal rushing on deadline day to sign any living thing. Hopefully not Lawrence. Musa says Arteta meeting Thomas Partey this week to discuss about his future with Arsenal. How true is that? Yep, we talked about that one yesterday. I smell positive news after the sad meeting. The said meeting. Big up, Mr. Glenn. Thank you, Musa. So I do think Partey is eventually going to sign a new contract. So I think Arteta wants to keep Partey for at least one more season. So if they do that meeting we were told yesterday, I think he's going to end up agreeing to sign at least one more year. So yeah, I'd be surprised if after that meeting he doesn't stay. Halima says Gykeres is looking like he will come to us. So hopefully, Halima, hopefully. Mubarak says, Mr. Glenn, big ups. I'm watching from Uganda. Thank you, Mubarak. Let Arsenal sign both your Sesko and Viktor, says Malish. Musa also says any updates about Martinelli and Rodrygo this from Ghana. So we'll recap everything at the end. Arike says please subscribe and smash the like button. Thank you. Your comments are not showing on my screen. I don't know why, so I'm having to use the phone. But yeah, you can just still comment. I'll still read your comments. Hamzat says Arsenal are too slow. Douglas says good evening. Good evening to you too. Tambi says striker is Arsenal's priority. That doesn't mean we don't need players in other areas. That is true. We definitely need a winger. We definitely needed a midfielder even before Partey was considered to be leaving. After Partey leaves, I think we'll need another one. After Zubimendi, I think we'll need a defender later in the transfer window. And I think we obviously need a backup goalkeeper as well, which is going to be Kepa. And I say they wouldn't mind an attacking number 8 or a backup for Saka, someone else like that. Wisdom says we need a striker. Strikers are a major problem, says currency. When will Arsenal sell a player above 50 million, says Jude? Maybe if they sell Martinelli, that's the only player. I don't think we've never even come close to that. I think it's like 30 million, our biggest sale, that in the 30s. We've never even got to 40 million. So yeah, and that has been, we've had players who could have gone for that. So that has been very terrible in terms of the squad management over the last 30 years. The fact that we've not been able to sell even one player. Now, the truth is also that we've never really been a selling club. We never really looked at ourselves as a selling club. So we basically finish all the gas and all the oil and the juice from all the players, and then we let them go, after they've already been here for like 5 to 10 years. But we should definitely have been able to get these teams have gotten 100 million plus for their players, 200 million for their players. So at the moment, the only player that Arsenal can sell for 50 million plus, the realistic, is that one that we've been talking about, Martinelli. And I don't think that is enough anyway. So is there any other player that we can sell for 50 million plus? There's no one that we can consider selling. Saliba is like 200 million. Nope, we can sell him. Rice, it's around that as well. Gabriel, way more than 100 million, but is not for sale. Saka, way more than 100 million as well, but is not for sale. If Odegaard left Arsenal today, it would be maybe 70. Yeah, maybe 70 or something like that. But again, it's not for sale as well. And then there's players like Trossard do in their 30s, you're not going to get 50 million plus. Partey's contract is ending, you're not going to get any money if he does leave. I think Timber, if you're selling right now, 50, 60 million as well. No, we bought Timber for 50, 45. Yeah, Timber's been a better player at Arsenal than what he was. I'm going to say 65 or something. So yeah, there's a few players, but the only one that we've been talking about potentially selling is Martinelli. So yeah, it's the only one that can bring that kind of money right now. Emre to replace Jorginho. Yeah, we talked about Zaire Emre the other day. We talked about Zaire Emre, and then we also talked about Bakola, but Bakola is not going to live there. Zaire Emre might. Let's see. Jesus. Michael says Jesus is less useful for the club, so we can sell him and get Sesko and Gykeres. Michael, no, you're not going to sell Jesus. You know why you're not going to sell Jesus. Let's use this as an example, Michael. If me and you had a team together and we wanted to sign a striker, why should we go and we sign Jesus, who's out for 9 months? We can just wait for that 9 months to be over. Let's see how he plays for Arsenal first, and then go and buy him. So, yeah, you're not going to sell Jesus. He has an ACL injury, not even just any regular injury. He has a serious ACL injury, the second one of his career in the last 3 years. So, yeah, it's an unfortunate situation because he gets paid a lot of money and he can't play. If you could sell him today, I would also sell him today, but you can't sell him. There's no one who's going to buy him, unless you cancel the contract and you pay him. So, yeah, I don't think it's possible to sell him because of that injury. I think eventually Jesus will leave, maybe with 6 months to go in his contract, or leave for free. Let's see. Francis says, if we want to win a trophy this season, we need to sign a striker, whether Viktor or Benjamin. We need one now to do better things. And this season, we're tired of hearing from other clubs that never won a Champions League, that we've never won a Champions League. Yeah, that's the only thing that they can say, man. We were so close last season. George has written a long comment. So average Arteta. You can tell George is not a fan of Arteta, eh? So average Arteta is thinking about bringing in another Chelsea garbage and reject in Madueke. You can also tell George does not like Madueke. How do you release Martinelli and bring in Madueke? Arsenal problem starts with this average and clueless Arteta. Now, I still don't agree with that, though. There's no one who told us Arteta wants Madueke. There's no one who told us that. There's no guarantee that Arteta is the one who wants Madueke. It could be a journalist making up the story. It could be Madueke's agent saying that Arsenal want him. I'm sure. I don't believe this one. I don't think if you sit with Arteta right now, sit with him right now, and he will tell you, yeah, I don't want Rodrygo, I want Madueke. I don't think he's going to do that. The other reason I don't believe it is Arteta himself knows if we have another poor season, he's going to be sacked. So why would he sit there and say, okay, I want Madueke? I don't think that would be the case. So that's why I don't choose to believe that one. I doubted Arteta's abilities when he released the likes of Smith Rowe and Nelson, then brought in pathetic Sterling. But Partey must stay. Any top manager won't release Partey. Any top manager won't bring in this average Merino as a midfielder. It makes no sense releasing Partey and retaining. They cut your comment because it was too long, I guess. So the Madueke, Arteta wanting Madueke, I disagree with that. No one told us Arteta is the one who wants Madueke. About Smith Rowe and Nelson, yeah, that was a bad decision. Letting go of both Smith Rowe and Nelson and not replacing them was very criminal. Or if he was the one who made that decision, terrible. If it was Edu who made that decision, terrible. Bringing in Sterling, terrible. We waited too long and we panicked, very, very terrible. All those three, Smith Rowe, Nelson, Sterling, that I definitely agree with. For Partey, again, just like Madueke, I'm sure if you sit with Arteta right now and you ask him if he wants to keep Partey, he would say yes. That is just my opinion. But he's not the one who's making that decision. Partey's contract is expiring in 1 year. That is Partey's decision first. So unless they convince him to stay. And two, that is where Bata can tell Arteta no. Now the sporting director, Partey is 30-something years of age. I'm going to bring you another midfielder. We cannot give him a new contract. So that as well, I don't agree with the Partey one. Merino one as a midfielder, yeah, I agree with that one. I also agree with bringing Havertz as a midfielder and giving him 208,000 per week. Terrible. So I'm not just going to blindly say, no, Arteta is right. Arteta is right here. No, Arteta is also right here. No. He's made a lot of mistakes as well. I know that, but I'm saying in terms of Madueke, no, there's no one who told us Arteta wants Madueke. Lonike says, hi, Glenn. Where do you see Merino and Kai in the Arsenal team? I can't wait for preseason because of that. I'm waiting to see where they're going to play. I think Havertz is going to be still playing striker with whoever else is playing there. Merino, I think Merino is going to be 50-50. If we sign a striker and we also have Havertz the entire season, I don't think Merino will get too many opportunities up front. So he's going to end up playing that number 8. So hopefully, as George says, Merino is terrible in midfield. Hopefully, it's good for us next season because that is where I think he's going to play. If you can't get Rodrygo from Madrid, you should go for Kenan Yildiz from Juventus. He's been incredible in the Club World Cup. He can play on the left wing and in the number 10. The goal that is scored, the first goal that is scored the other day, I don't remember the team they played. Yeah, the goal that he scored the other day when he scored 2 goals. Incredible shot. He's been very good. And last season, he was very good for Juventus as well. Following from Monrovia, Liberia, thank you, Cooper. We have done everything to keep Partey, but if he wants to go, then let him go. Yeah, I think we've done 80% to keep Partey. I think the 20% is giving him more money, but I don't think Arsenal is going to do that. At the end of the day, it's his decision, though. If Partey doesn't want to stay, you can't do anything about it. So, as Musa had said in the chat earlier, there's a meeting between Partey and Arteta. So let's see if they're going to decide to keep him, or if he's going to convince Partey to stay, or if you're going to go for other midfielders. So yeah, any attacking midfielder situation coming, I'll appreciate, says Leneke. So let's just recap what we've talked about quickly for the ones who are just joining. Thank you for everyone who's been watching, by the way, and for all your comments. Let's go for 1 hour today. We've been going for 55 minutes. Let's go and have we gone for 1 hour yet? No, I think we've 50 minutes a couple of times, but today there was a lot to talk about. Let's scroll up. Which one did we start with? Rodrygo. So we were told by Fabrizio that Arsenal love Rodrygo. They consider him as a fantastic player, a dream target as a winger. Also, because they feel Nico Williams is impossible to reach this summer, Rodrygo remains a strong name in the list for Arsenal. He's going to cost us around £177 million. Martinelli is happy at Arsenal, and the club expect him to stay. However, if an attractive buyer came in for Martinelli at an appropriate price, especially one which enables Arsenal to land some of their top targets, then Arsenal's position could shift. Thomas Partey's contract expires next week, and Arsenal have been in negotiations of an extension, but are yet to find an agreement, although Partey's preference has been to remain in London. He's entertaining offers from elsewhere. So Partey 1 more week before we know whether Partey is going to be an Arsenal player or not. This wasn't really news, but we were told about what Zubimendi will bring to Arsenal, so you can just rewatch this stream if you want to get through that. Kepa will be our second signing for that 5 million. If Kepa joins, which he will, then Hein might end up leaving. I say they want around 15 million for Hein. Other teams are able to get a lot of money for their backup goalkeepers. Let's do the same. Court Offside says Arsenal are planning to submit an offer for Viktor Gyokeres. We'll have a separate video on that one. Sesko, there's a 10 million euro gap between Arsenal and Leipzig on how much you was supposed to pay for Sesko. Jorrel, Hato's agent, has been back in London. So Hato's agent has been in London. We've heard that Sesko's agent has been in London, and also Gykeres representatives have been in London over the last 1 week, and Zubimendi as well. So there's a lot of people who've been in London recently. Alexander Zinchenko is a major target for Fulham. Fulham always signing Arsenal players. Arsenal value Zinchenko at 12.7 million, but Fulham want to pay 10 million. And stingy Fulham. They can't even get to that 12.7 million. Anyway, don't want the 12.7 million. I want us to get way more than that. I was looking for 20 million. Judge says this Ghana winger who plays for West Ham is so good. Kudus is just a decent winger. This are kind of players we should be going for. I wouldn't mind Kudus. We actually wanted Kudus before he went to West Ham, but they say that transfer window didn't have enough money or something. There's always something wrong with Arsenal. We didn't have money that time. But Kudus, yeah. If Kudus is like 40 million, I wouldn't mind him. But 50, 60 million, I'll still try to get Gykeres and Rodrygo first. And then if you can get Kudus as a third option, if you sign Gykeres, Rodrygo and Kudus, that would be such a dream. I would never ask you for any forward players again. I would be very happy with that. Taiwo says we need Lookman. We talked about him, I think, at the beginning of the transfer window. His name was mentioned because we were told that Andrea Berta talked to like 15 wingers. So Lookman, Rafa Leao, Anthony Gordon, Nico Williams, Rodrygo. We were even told that he talked to Mitoma from Brighton, Gittens from Dortmund. I can't remember all the other names, but it was like almost 15 names of wingers that could be available. So I'm sure he talked to Lookman, but I haven't heard anything about Lookman at them recently as well. I don't know if it's guaranteed that he's going to leave Atalanta or he's going to stay, or if he wants to stay in Italy or something. I don't know. Cooper says, I believe in Thomas Partey. Let's remember that he can help in defense as well. Please keep Partey. Yeah, and so I want us to keep him because of the squad depth. I also want us to keep him because he had a good season last season. I also want to keep him because he managed to remain injury-free last season, and also want to keep him because he managed to do that for us. We needed a defender, and he covered for us at right back. We'll need Rodrygo to make an attacking threat. Honestly, I think Nelson is better than Madueke, says Chryswell. He has never been given the opportunity to prove himself. As for Partey, if he stays, good. If he goes, good too. He can't be that forever. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be here forever. So even if he doesn't stay this season, or if he stays this season, I don't expect him to be here the following season. I think it's going to be something short. So I appreciate you guys watching. Let's hit 1 hour and let's finish it there. We have 20 seconds to go. Emmanuel says, if General Partey is leaving, then give us Baleba from Brighton. Would be a good signing, but again, it's going to be spending money. And you know how Brighton is. Brighton could ask for 90 million for this player. Brighton always demand a lot of money for their players. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Back again soon if there's more news. But yeah, hopefully we start getting deals done. I'll try to be doing from next month when there's a lot of news. We will be doing sometimes 2 live streams in a day. So thank you for watching, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one. We hit 1 hour. 1 hour. Thank you.